Hi everyone, good evening. Hi everyone, good evening. This is sorry, I think I can hear a lot of echo.
Yeah, there's a lot of echo there.
Yeah, is it okay now?
I think it's better, yes.
Hi everyone, this is Shweta, co-founder of Startup Rezo. Sorry about the delay. Sorry about the late. I think, as usual, technology has to face when it shouldn't, and yeah, we all have overcome that. So, moving on to our panel discussion, the topic today is investment and innovation in AI, perspectives and a showcase. And I have with me three panelists: Sanjay Mehta, who is the founder of Hundreds.vc; Rajesh Kanumari from Arca Lab Ventures; and Vinod Cheney from Alpha Ventures, who's going to join us shortly. So by the time Vinod joins in, maybe I want to show you guys a couple of slides on the investment landscape in India. Let me pull my slides on. Are my slides visible?
Yes.
So we've put together the details of investments that have made in AI over the past 15 months. So if you look at the graph here, about 43 deals were made in past 15 months in AI, and these 43 deals comprised of about 500 plus million dollars of investment. And what is interesting to see here is majority of the investments were made in Series A. Now that could be because of two possible reasons. The first one could be because if you recollect, 2015 to 2017 were the years where we saw a lot of seed investments happening, and that's why since last year we have been seeing a lot of follow on investments that are happening. Or another reason is we have also seen a lot of jump in the B2B startups that has happened over the past 2 years. So as per one of the NASSCOM's report, the number has jumped from 14% of B2B startups from 2015 to about 40 plus 42% of startups as of November 2019. We've also put together a few names of active investors in the space. Audience, you all might want to make a note of some names from here whom you want to reach out later. So, with this, I would now want to move back to our panel discussion. So, by the time Vinod joins in, maybe Sanjay and Radesh, you all can help us with your brief introduction individually. I'm sure both of you don't need any though. And followed which, also, if you can share with us your views on trends in AI that you foresee in 2020, and what are the sectors that you see are going to be seeing more traction. So, over to you, Sanjay.
Thank you, Shweta. Good evening to all of you. And I hope you feel safe, healthy, and at home. Uh, we are in an uncertain times, and a lot of ambiguity is there. But there is one certainty which everyone has experienced is all about the digital data and how internet, the data, and being digital native has helped all of us. The trends which we are seeing across in AI side of it are not no longer technology side, which I can share much about, but it is more about the industries and markets which it is impacting. Virtually every market or every industry is going to be touched by AI. Some places it has taken much faster than others, and few places it is still building upon it. There are still limitations in AI because of the data set what it requires. We are still require large amount of data sets before we actually start using AI to the fullest. So there are limitations, but yes, everyone is working towards it. I'm sure we are going to see across huge advantages coming across with AI in transportation, healthcare, and deliveries. So I'm still bullish. So for me, transportation and deliveries become one of the key sectors where I believe AI has a lot of influence. And this changes quite a lot of structural impact on every market. Just giving you basics about, how railroads or, building across the roads in World War II, anything which manages transportation or helps improve connectivity, gives a predictability on the supply chain. These are huge impacts to any businesses. So my take is transportation, logistics, deliveries are going to be one of the biggest beneficiaries of AI. Next one is going to be the health tech, where I believe AI has huge significance. And there are lots of startups who are using across AI. But here we are struggling with lots of data sets. So I'm little skeptical, and by the time we will have those data sets ready, how much time more it will be required to perfect our AI models. And I take another one, which would be is in the entertainment side. News and entertainment are going to be the big industry consumption of AI, and which we are already seeing across in multiple levels. So I'm picking up three industry: transportation, delivery, logistics side. So anything which is on a mobility side would be a lot of advantage. Second is healthcare, wellness services, safety. Well, that's where I would look on. And lastly, media, news, entertainment is where I would. So these are the three industries which I believe are the top industry. Coming to what we do at 100x, as you asked across, as to give a brief introduction, 100x is a first check VC fund.
I have logged
We
in.
write the first checks to
Yeah,
the
I have
startup
logged in.
founder. We work with only Indian companies. We introduce iSafe Note, which is India Simple Agreement for Future
I
Equity,
can't switch on because
which is helped
this thing
across
on
over
my
100
camera
plus
is not
startups
on.
today. We introduced a class
Yes, I'll
concept
be able to speak. Yes.
first time, where we have 20 companies in December 2019, which we announced across. And our class 2 is out there, where we are looking forward to invest in another set of batch of companies. You can write to us at pitch at 100x.vc in case you have got a great idea. We are a sector agnostic fund. We invest into every possible sectors, and we look forward to hear from you. Over to you, Shweta.
Thank you, Sanjay. And I see Vinod has dialed in finally. Hi, Vinod. Welcome.
Hi, Sweta. Thank
Can
you
you hear us?
for your patience. Yes, I can. Can you hear us? Can you hear me?
He still can't hear us. Maybe Rajesh, you want to go next?
Yeah, I can go next. So, hello. So I run this fund called Arca Venture Labs. We invest in Indian B2B tech startups who are looking into the US markets. What we do is we provide investment, we provide mentoring, and then we provide connects to the ecosystem. And this fund has been formed with three anchor investors who are basically VCs in their original avatar. They have come in as anchor investors, and then we have raised money through senior professionals working in corporates in management in India. So that's basically what we do. We started in August 2018, and we have made 7 investments so far, and we plan to make another 15 investments in the coming 2 years. So that's a quick introduction about Arca Venture Labs. Now, talking about AI, right? I think Sanjay very well articulated about some of the trends in AI. And he talked about a lot of machine learning scenarios. I'll possibly talk about some of the, besides, obviously the machine learning is pretty much going to be bullish. If you look into the early 2000 and maybe mid 2000, you had a lot of this analytics around diagnostic and descriptive analytics. A lot of enterprises were adopting that. But post that, as you see, you could see more companies now looking for machine learning in terms of their ability to predict what's going to happen in the future, whether it's a retail company or whether it is basically a logistics company or it's a manufacturing company, all want to go and understand what's going to happen in the future, and based on that they take some actions which are best optimized. So that's definitely for sure there. But I'll also talk a little bit about cognitive computing. So if you look into the cognitive computing, you have basically it can be subdivided into three aspects. One is basically natural language understanding. Second is image recognition, and third is voice to text, text to speech kind of stuff that goes on. Now, if you look into image recognition, there are so many of startups which are actually having solutions which are either cross-industry or specific to certain industries. So I'll take some examples like how startups are actually solving business problems using image recognition. So one example is, I think, quite a few companies are there which are using surveillance, basically surveillance. So basically, whatever the CCTV camera feeds are coming in, they're able to analyze those video feeds and then coming out with actionable insights.
I'm in the session.
It could be as simple as in the COVID situation.
But I can hear
the control room of police wants to know that which are the roads where there are vehicles traveling, and if there is a violation of certain sections of they see people, not more than 4 people or 5 people, certainly a trigger kind of comes in as a notification, and then they can actually take some
share on my WhatsApp. It's going to come
based on that. So that's one example of surveillance. Compliance, for example, used for compliance in retail store shelves, where brands would like to know that a given retailer, how much of compliance he has done for putting this product in the shelf, or whether he's put it in the right shelf and right position. And all of this is now kind of solved by having analytics on the images that is kind of and then you have catalog creation. So based on the catalogs, you can use the image recognition APIs to find out what that particular product is all about. If you take examples of, I'll try to be brief. If you take the example of natural language understanding, the very large use cases around legal. It could be also used in contract creation, basically the whole contract lifecycle management, right? From contract creation to contract analytics to contract compliance. If you look into speech to text and text to speech, a very strong use case exists in the BPO industry to improve their efficiencies and effectiveness. I'll probably stop here, and kind of I think this is going to be the way of life in terms of having more AI-based startups solving vertical-based solutions or horizontal solutions for certain business area.
Thank you, Ravi. Vinod, can you hear us? No, I think he still can't hear us. So I'll move on to my next question. So if you see the investment trends over the past 15 months, majority of the investments or majority of the deals that have happened under deep tech. And even under deep tech, we've seen a lot of solutions that have focused on enterprise productivity, enterprise automation, data automation, knowledge management, and so on. So Rajesh, given your background of coming from large enterprises and now working with startups, maybe I'll direct my next question to you. So how do you think are large corporates implementing AI solutions today, and how does it help the startup landscape?
Yeah. So as I see right now, corporates are adopting solutions which are, across, certain vertical, or it's basically related to a certain business function. So I'll give you some examples of how corporates are using AI. For example, having a single identity of the customer. Right? So they have a bunch of data that is lying in different repositories of their applications. It could be the CRM application. It could be, if it's the bank, it's a core banking application, or it's basically insurance company, it's a core insurance application, or they will have data in their campaign management systems. They will have data in the social media applications. So it's the same identity of the customer, but under different names and different silos of the enterprise. And what they would now basically doing is that they are getting this whole different information in one single data lake and using machine learning to find out what's the single identity of that particular customer, so that helps marketers to reach out to that particular customer through the right channel, right content, and right time, and also to help them to define the customer journey as he comes from one channel and navigates across, how to navigate him to the best channel to kind of convert him for a sale or convert for a registration or whatever the end goal is. That's basically one example of how corporates are looking. This is a very specific example around marketing. Another example is that as corporates are themselves using machine learning, they need productivity tools around machine learning development. So they would want to know how their models are working and how they can collaborate, how the data scientists can collaborate amongst themselves to come out with better accuracy of that machine learning models, or basically kind of create different versions of those models. That's another scenario where solutions like this, they'll be more open to solving. Predictive analytics, Sanjay also spoke about that. I think more and more corporates are looking at running machine learning models for themselves to understand what's going to be the best. Examples could be who is the most profitable customer, or what is going to be the forecast of revenues, or what going to be the forecast of sales. And in that case, there are multiple AI-based solutions and tools which are coming up.
I can hear
so overall, as I see right now, corporates are looking at AI and to either improve their efficiencies and or improve the effectiveness of their business processes, internal business processes, or to give more value to the end customer. And this is across different business functions, or across different verticals. That's what they are very much open to looking at these kind of solutions. And it's definitely good for the startup ecosystem, because you have I think adoption of large enterprises to these kind of solutions will definitely help.
And also being more collaborative. Now we've seen in the past few months or couple of years that they've been more collaborative. Sanjay, any thoughts you would like to add here?
I mean, from an AI perspective, I believe the story is just the big, right? We are yet to see so many versions and changes which we will see across as startup founders will come and educate us, give us the new opportunities of investments into probably the things which we have not even imagined, right? So I think there's huge opportunity which all of us believe is existing in the AI space. There are multiple versions of it, be it across in a small format like voice-driven AI, to image recognition, to video analytics, to just the textual side of it. So in whatever format the data is available, as much data will get feeded across into the deep learning, machine learning models, we would be able to see across a good amount of success with AI. One of my key concerns is always going to be, when internet came in and all of us started getting onto internet, we saw across an emergence of some market called cybersecurity, which has just grown crazy big, right? Cybersecurity today is a very large market. A lot of startup founders are serving that market and helping us secure our data, our communication in all aspects. Very similar, I believe there is a huge market which will come out with offensive AI.
I told you,
there are going to be case studies where AI is not used in a right
Mic is
way.
working.
There are,
Mic works.
we already are seeing things with fake news. AI can be used into as much productive, but there are going to be destructive mind, like how we saw across the, phishing, the antivirus, all sorts of cyber security crimes. Very similarly, we will see across crimes coming across from AI, use of AI, and that is going to be a huge market for startup founders, which are going to work specifically in terms of securing enterprises, individuals, from this offensive AI. So the landscape is continuously changing. There is rapid development which we are experiencing, and I'm sure in coming months and years, we are going to see this as a new normal. In terms of expecting across software to behave like how human brain is, right? Today, when you type across an email, Google prompts you with so many things, and 80% or 90% of the time, the text is more or less correct. Now, think across how this is going to change across when it is going to be 100 times better, right? I mean, it's just mind-boggling. I mean, it's just unbelievable the way future is going to be seen across, and that's where we as in startup investors are always excited to work with startup founders, right? Because they bring in this new cutting edge technology. They bring in the new insights. Like within my class one portfolio, I've got one company which is called Road Metrics, which uses AI to detect across potholes on the road and to the precision where they can even detect cracks in the road. So they use AI by mounting a simple phone camera, mounting on a car, and they drive across on roads. And basis on the data, every 10 feet it will pick up a picture and automatically. And this is no human touch required. Automatically, all software algorithm will pick up all the data and lay out the complete road conditions on Google Map as an overlay to give where the potholes are. Google gives us a great insights in terms of which is the shortest road, but this is not always the best road. And Indian cities are all filled with potholes. Everybody has experienced. So it's a great innovation what startups are doing. One of our startups called Dio.ai does multilingual conversational voice interactions to build resumes for blue collar workers. Now, what a use case, right? Today, blue collar workers don't know how to write resumes in English. Now, how do I create a job portal for blue collar workers, right? On voice. Fantastic, right? How do I build that? It's an amazing the way AI is being used across to solve so many problems. So I'm very excited to work with startup founders who are solving this kind of main problems.
So it's very interesting, Sanjay, that you mentioned about offensive AI, and since you've seen investments in that space, and that's a word that we've been listening a lot in the West today. For our audience, would you like to give us one or two examples of offensive AI so that they have some food for thought while going back home today?
No, so as I mentioned across, we all are experiencing across use of AI in terms of fake news, right? Any information which is being shared across, how do you validate it is authentic? Coming across. We are today using, we have seen across email phishing, which is happening across, or the way I will say across spoofing, right? Where I don't know whether the sender is this originally the same sender who is actually sending. Is it going to be spoofed, the email? Now AI can be used across to do the same. You will feel it is the Radesh who is sending me, but it might be some scamster who might be sending across. So there are multiple ways the AI is going to be used in a destructive way, right? And these are, I'm just making it much more simple, but the destructions can be quite intensive. We have seen across, DDoS, where denial of services happen across, right? And very similar stuffs can be generated across using AI. So there are a lot of instances where people with destructive minds will be using AI, and we would need startup founders to build those security around those offensive AI attacks.
Yeah. Thank you, Sanjay.
I think
Vinod, can you hear us?
End of the session.
Do we have you still?
Just drop
Or
off.
no?
Because I don't think we'll be able to take this.
No, I don't think any luck there. Santosh, how much time do we have?
So I think
I think you have another five minutes, and then you can just quickly for 2 minutes for questions. There is one question as well.
Sure. So I'll quickly take my last two questions, and since Sanjay, Radesh, we have both of you, maybe both of you can give it a shot, or either of you. So since morning, we have been listening a lot of positive impact that we might see post-COVID in terms of new opportunities coming out of AI. So I would like to hear your thoughts, and I know we have been discussing this since past 20 minutes now, that there will be positive impact coming out of AI. What are the newer use cases? Like you mentioned healthcare. So Sanjay, you mentioned healthcare could be one of the sectors. Education could be one of the sectors. Logistics could be one of the sectors. Sorry, not education. Entertainment could be one of the sectors. So can you help us a few use cases that you see under these specific sectors where you think there will be positive impact and we'll see more solutions coming out?
No, so our idea is whatever we know is already been done and dusted, right? We are not the guys who create future. It is the startup founders who create the futures. They come out with the great ideas. They educate us. They tell us this is how the world is going to change. We are a passive guy. We just invest money. So it is the startup founders who typically educate us. But I see across the investment opportunity definitely is there with in the AI space, deep tech space. I am seeing across next at least 12 to 24 months, startups will be capital efficient in everything what they do across from an investment perspective. I see leaner startups. The cost of building, which was like one of the biggest cost in this space, is always going to be hiring talent. That cost is going to go down. So that is a big boon for most of the startups. You will see across good talent available at a right cost. I wouldn't say cheaper, but at a right cost. And the cost of customer acquisition for most of the startups is set to go down, and go down by almost 70 to 80%. If you look into last 1 month of the cost of getting customer acquisition from Facebook to Instagram, that has gone down by 53%. It's huge. It's a huge saving to acquire. Today, my every startup CAC is just going down crazily. Everybody is adopting digital. Secondly, in terms of the capital efficiency, suddenly all startup founders have become capital efficient, right? So they are looking to use every penny so wisely, and I'm so proud of all the startup founders whom I've been talking across in last 1 month. The way they've used across or they've pivoted their models, they've changed their business plans to make themselves capital efficient. And one of the conversation which I was having across again with startup founder, and that's where you get most education from, is about creating a new industry called home economy. Today, all AI or whatever we are trying to build across within the AI will surround around home economy. Anything which can begin at home, which can be served at home, which can be engagement can be done at home, right, are going to be very, very useful use cases. So startup founders are now pivoting or focusing, while we always had multiple industry verticals which we were looking across, right? SMB businesses, enterprises, a variety of categorization we used to do across. Now we have one more category coming up, and that's going to be the biggest one, which is the home category. So home economy is a new business which all startups have started targeting. and AI is no different. We'll see across specific AI use cases coming across. Just to share across, I'm evaluating and very rightfully so, I'm evaluating a deal which is into where we are on a like very similar video call, and basis on the facial expression, there are a lot of sentiments which can be deciphered. And how do you put that right in terms of how do you analyze those facial data? When you today we are just three, and we have seen meetings where there are 20 people of office who are just joining one Zoom meeting. Now how do you capture the mood of each of the employees? How do you engage? Now same software, let's try to see across where somebody is writing an exam, where on the camera people are just trying to overlook while the student is writing across the exam. Now how do I take those facial recognition when I'm going to drive a car? How do I look at the facial recognition that he is not going to sleep? The same set of technology is now trying to be brought across into homes. So people are very smart to use technology to create so many use cases. And hats off to all the startup founders who are trying to build this and take the take that daring step of building an startup. So I'm very, very excited.
Yeah. I'm sure there are exciting opportunities and exciting times coming forward. So let's move on to our last question. Maybe Radesh, we can start with you. And then Sanjay, we would like you also to share your thoughts on the same. So we are all talking about the capital is going to be used efficiently. Startups are going to start reserving cash now. They are going to be starting bootstrapping now. But at the same time, as we all know, startups are going to be needing the funding to scale their business. So when do you think will be the right time for our startup founders to start looking to raise money, or when will be the right time for them to start looking out for investors?
So this is basically purely a case of what stage they are in. You're able to hear me right, properly, right, Chetan? Yeah. So it's basically, thank you. So it's basically the stage in which they are in, and let's say they are in the early stages. Then that's basically they need to look into the pre-seed or seed kind of money. If they have kind of created certain milestones in the revenues or customer acquisition, then they can probably look into the pre-series A stage, or so depending upon what milestones they have achieved, they look into the pre-series A, series A kind of stage. And even in this COVID situation, there are quite a few funds which are investing right now, and then their whole outlook should be that which are the funds which are investing, and then reach out to them. That should be the way they can go forward, provided that they have made sure that they have achieved those previous milestones from the previous funding. That's where they can look out for. So that's what my quick thought on this would be.
Hello.
Sanjay, yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, Shweta, sorry, I lost you. Can you just repeat the question?
Yeah. Sanjay, the question is, right now we are all talking about reserving cash and bootstrapping. So when do you think is the right time for our audience to understand, is the right time for startup founders to go on road and start looking to raise money? Or when is the right time for them to start approaching investors? Should they be approaching them today, keeping them warm, or when is the right time?
So all startups needs to be classified into 3 segments. First, a startup which is already a beneficiary of this sector, right, or beneficiary of these times, which is like people who are enabling technologies, or has got remote engagement, or anything which is digital, right, will be beneficiary of COVID sector. So those startups need to be actively going out and raising their round, right? Because that's what VCs are looking into. That's what VCs are favoring across in today's time, right? So anything which is high touch, like travel, VCs are not going to invest in next couple of 3 to 6 months. So this is not the right time for them to start across. So first category where startups are a beneficiary, they have to rapidly, change their pitch, saying that how well they are suited across to take advantage of the current times, and take it forward, that conversation, and they will get lots and lots of opportunity. In fact, in one of my portfolio companies, which is a company called Nourish, which helps across online training and academies, are getting great traction, right? So they have been, the revenues are literally doubling, right? Crazy, week on week. So those are the businesses which is going to see a lot of traction in terms of VC interest. The next set of startup founders which had a business and are trying to pivot to the new normal of going digital, right? Or changing this whole business model. For example, Boxade today is delivering groceries, right? Which was a QSR is now changing their model to deliveries your daily essentials. Now, these are, while it's a much later startup at Series C and stuff, but early stage startups which are pivoting, right? They had a business model, but they are trying to align now to the newer sector. They should prove their model or get at least some traction on their new model. Unless they have that traction, they should not be pitching, because then you are wasting an opportunity, an audience which you got from a VC, but you are not ready. VC is not going to invest into you. The third one is going to be the startup founders which are deeply impaired, which are affected badly due to this startup, this whole COVID-19. They should rework their business model, how to become zero touch, no touch. How do I change my business model? What are the ways that I can be all weather business? Everybody is now looking across to discover all weather business. Anything which is all weather is going to be attractive. So you need to bucket yourself into there is no cookie cutter approach here. There is no standard rules. VC is an unfair business. So you will believe that you have great idea, everything is right, but your competition, which is possibly poor but still gets funded. So it is an unfair business. And I agree very well that as VC and investors, we make a lot of mistakes while we invest across, but we take decisions, we move forward, we believe in founders, and we try to take a decision and make it right. It's not that we have perfected art of saying that these are all the startups which will be winners, right? So the way I would put it across is all investors are open for business. They want to invest in startups. They are taking bets, investment bets, but you need to position it right so that all of us both so I am proud for my portfolio that they have taken my money. We as an investor make money of startup founders. It is we who are grateful because they have taken our funding. So for us, we are looking across for great founders whom we can work across with. That's my closing statement.
Thank you, Sanjay. Radhesh, any closing statements that you would like to make in the interest of time?
Yeah, I think Sanjay brought about interesting aspect around saying certain scenarios of COVID, certain startups can definitely benefit. And there are also certain very hot areas, for example, the no-code or low-code applications. So that's also very hot area. So startup in those particular areas, I think, can also look around for funding. For example, we have this company called Obviously.ai, where it allows to generate models in less than a minute for any enterprise by just having connected to that particular transactional data. So that's an example of low-code or no-code solutions. So there are definitely areas, privacy ops, or could be something around support systems, self-driven support, generating those kind of areas. So look at the hot areas, look at the areas which are could be beneficial for them due to COVID. It could be the telemedicine, it could be logistics, it could be groceries, it could be food tech, it could be collaboration, streaming media. So these are definitely the areas where I think there's a lot of things to get in terms of revenues and all that. So education, online education. So sure, if you're falling in those buckets, then you should probably be very bullish about your company.
Yes, please. So Shweta, can you click on the question section, question icon? You'll have some 2 questions. So if you can quickly address that.
Yeah, we have 2 questions. So the first one is Sanjay Radesh. The first question that we have here is COVID has learned us lessons on leading digital aspects of life. Post COVID, where do we see investments happening in terms of policy and priority? Is it on automation, digitization, making sensor ready, communication infra, or is it going to be driven by private organizations or governments?
I think, Shweta, we answered this question. I mean, we
Yeah.
are already given my views. VCs are open for business. We are looking for right use cases, and we are happy to invest.
Yeah, maybe just the last part of the question. Do you think this is going to be driven by private organizations, or do you see government is going to play a huge role in this?
So Indian government has already, started committing money to startups through SIDBI schemes. So I did a short interview with SIDBI Chairman Managing Director Mohammad Mustafa just 2 days back, and then government is has announced and is doing a lot of work trying to help across startups. While many of the policies, the bar set are very high for very few startups to get into it, but they are listening, and government will try to work across, relax some rules, and they are investing in fund of funds. They are trying to enable and work across with venture funds, give them more capital so that that can be deployed across. So that is on the government side. A lot of institutions which are raising capital from foreign funds. One of the biggest deal which has been announced in this time is Facebook and Geo. And I believe India is going to be the battleground for tech giants. We will see, now Facebook has taken a lead in the Indian market with Geo partnership and investments. Google, Microsoft has to take the next steps in terms of investing in Indian markets. The best ways are going to be trying to create a venture investing arm, invest in startups. So we are going to see across those tech giants, using India as a battleground. Amazon is well deep entrenched. They've committed a lot of money to India. For Google, Indian user base is very high. There's huge impact to how India contributes to the Android ecosystem, and Google will start investing. They did some spurts, but we will see across investments from Google and Microsoft coming thick and fast.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure then. So thank you so much. What I'll do quickly, again, there's one question. I think you've already answered this one, which says, what would be your suggestion in terms of steps that a new startup should take to get the best investment attraction from people like you? So for this question, I want, I'll go with Radesh first. Radesh, just give me 3 words, which you can answer them. 3 words, where you'll get impressed on new startups.
Yeah, fundamentals. Focus on your fundamentals. Make sure you are able to scale despite the COVID situation, and basically, ensure current evidence of what you have done.
Okay, Sanjay, just 3 words.
Money, money, and money.
Perfect. I think that sums up everything, actually. Shweta, over to you. Any closing note you want to give, Shweta?
I would just leave our audience with a couple of thoughts here. So, guys, this is the time for you to use your capital efficiency in the home economy space. And I would just want to leave you guys with one statement, which is, in crisis lies opportunity. And I hope we all will make the best of this situation.
Sure. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Shweta, for being here. Thank you, Sanjay, and thank you, Radesh. Thank you so much for the patience, and again, apologies from AirMeet for the inconvenience caused. And thank you so much, audience. We are just starting off with the next session in 2 minutes' time, not more than that. I promise that. Thank you so much.
Bye. Thanks, Shweta.
Bye. Bye.
Thanks, Santosh.